tornado warning that has just been issued for those of you in southwestern Jackson County and northern Marshall County in Alabama. This rotation popped up very quickly, pretty much out of the blue, down around the New Hope area of Madison County, Alabama, and that has since been warned on for a possible tornado. So now we are live here because of that very reason. So let's get into this thunderstorm here. It is due north and west of the Grant area and about 20 miles or so southwest of Scottsboro. It's for this little rotation here, and it's not very tight, but it is tight enough to where it was tight enough a few minutes ago to where the Weather Service, just out of precaution here, decided to put out this tornado warning. Now, if you're in Woodville, in the southwestern portion of Jackson County, Alabama, you do need to be taking your tornado precautions right now because there is the potential of some rotation. And there's also up here to the north and west, it's not warned on at the moment. This one looks like it's trying to intensify as well, so we may have a secondary circulation here heading up into the Paint Rock area also of Jackson County, and that's going to head up towards north of Woodville and head up towards Pleasant Groves if that holds together. So we're really tracking two different weak circulations here that could be producing a small tornado. Now, I know this was not what was expected today, but sometimes what can happen here is, considering that this area, that it's unstable, you got some terrain interfering in here, sometimes that can be enough to create these little spin-off rotations and such. So this is something we have to really monitor here over the next little bit. So again, for those of you watching, make sure you share this out here so that way we can spread the word and all that in between. So that's exactly what I'm doing also right now. So again, if you are anywhere between Grant and up towards Woodville and areas west of Scottsboro and Jackson County and the northern end of Marshall County, you do need to be seeking shelter. If you got a basement, that's great. If you don't, lowest floor near the center, away from windows. That could include a bathroom, a closet, something that is just, that's at least something that is adequate and in the middle part of your house on the lowest levels. Just something, as long as it's away from windows and such, you'll be fine. You'll be good to go. But at the moment here, this is the only, and I want to emphasize right now that this is the only area that's seeing severe weather at the moment. I mean, we do have some other thunderstorms here across Sand Mountain, out west towards Huntsville, and also some heavy rain here in portions of southeast Tennessee. But the only area right now that has any severe concerns is right now is this cell right here that thankfully has looked a little weaker in the last volume scan, but it's this tornadic thunderstorm that's getting ready to move up across Highway 72 in the southwestern end of Jackson County. So let's get down here and show you what other communities are involved in this. So Butler Mill, Rocky Ridge, and let's see what other roads are involved here. So that's Jim Tom Hodge Road, Mill Road, and heading out here towards 72. So I want to advise this. No travel along 72 right now between Gurley and Scottsboro. If you know anybody that happens to be traveling in that area or is planning on to, you tell them to turn around. Wait this out. This warning expires here in about 30 minutes. I do believe, considering it's weakening, it probably will get canceled early, but let's wait it out for the next 20, 30 minutes. So if you know anybody that's traveling between Scottsboro and Gurley along Highway 72 in Jackson County, tell them to get off the road or turn around and go back and get away from the thunderstorm. Just don't drive into this storm in case it were to produce a tornado. Now, here are these other thunderstorms too. Let's make sure these aren't showing any rotation signs, and thankfully I'm not seeing any over here. This is right here along the Jackson-DeKalb County line. So far, I've not seen any other indications of rotation. It's mainly these two little areas, and here's a velocity scan update. But as I said earlier, this one's actually weakening just a little bit right here. That one actually really weakened, thankfully. But this other one up here that's technically not warned on, it's actually the stronger one at the moment, as it's crossing the Madison County line and heading right here along 72 into the Paint Rock area. And that's heading out towards the Fern Cave National Wildlife Refuge area. So, again, for those that may be new to the area and all that, this is in northeast Alabama. This is south and east of Huntsville by about 20, 30 minutes or so. And this is about also 20 minutes or so to the west of Scottsboro in Jackson County. So that's for those of you that may be not, that are totally new to this. And also out here to the west, I do want to also warn, there is a pretty strong thunderstorm that may produce some wind and hail moving across the Huntsville area. If that does hold together, this is also going to impact Jackson County here probably within the next half hour to an hour. So you got more thunderstorms. It's not just this one. You got more thunderstorms out here to the west you got to watch out for across Jackson County and potentially even DeKalb County and who knows, maybe Dade, Walker County. And it looks like most of this activity right here, based on the current projection, it does appear that it looks like it's going to carry itself mainly across our Alabama and Georgia communities. But it may briefly try to clip maybe southern Franklin, perhaps maybe southern Marion or Hamilton. But it looks like right now the most severe activity, at least with this part right here, is going to mainly be for northeast Alabama and northwest Georgia, the way I'm seeing things at the moment. Now, could that change in an hour or two? Yes, it always can. But it does appear, at least to me right now, that most of southern Tennessee here in particular seems to be mostly rain-cool because we've had a lot of rain up in here today. That should help us out and keep on the Tennessee side and keep a lot of this south, at least the worst of all this stormy activity here south into our Alabama and Georgia areas. But again, as always, that could always change. So that's why I always say make sure you're staying tuned because a lot can change in this kind of setup. Now, you may see here a little bit on radar here. I know it's definitely weak looking, but right back in here is typically where you would look for a possible tornado. So here's the town of Grant, Alabama, and Marshall County right here. That's County Highway. That's a County Highway 5 there. This is right here. This little stinger or a little hook back here. That's where a tornado would usually hides. So right in this area here, where the hand is circulating right there, that's going to be the area where that possible tornado is. And what I'll do is I'll put a track on that. Let's get a speed on that. Let me make sure I get the speed on that right. That's moving northeast at 20, so it is a slow mover, so it does give extra time to prepare, but just go ahead and find that safe area. And just to be on the safe side, I'm actually going to put Scottsboro in this track just to give you kind of a time frame in case the storm were to hold together. Now, this is not for the rain and such. The rain will get there sooner than these times. It's just for the potential small area of rotation that's weak, but if it holds together, this is where it'll be. So the Aspel community there along Highway 72 there at around 354. Scottsboro between 4 o'clock and 4:30. So, yeah, roughly around 4:15 there. And then Hodge around 4:29. So that would be estimated time of arrival for the possible rotation. Not the thunderstorm, but the rotation. This is where it would be in or around these times. Remember, these timings are estimated. So I would always assume 10 minutes earlier, usually, based on my experience with tracking these. So but don't, as I said, don't wait till these times. Just go ahead and head to that place of safety and just wait this out for about another 20 minutes or so. That's when this warning goes through. And as I said, it has shown signs of weakening. But again, we have to keep an eye on it in case it were to cycle, because these storms do have a tendency to cycle. Now, that actually did briefly re-intensify just a little bit, so it looks like it's cycled there, just right over the Butler Mill community. So here's Madison County, there's Jackson County, and here's Marshall County. So basically pretty close to where the three counties meet right there is where this little area of spin is. And it's heading to the north, and it's heading off to the east-northeast at 20 miles an hour. So here's Swearingen, there's Oak Grove. Here's the shores over here towards Gunnersville Lake. So if you know anybody that's around Gunnersville Lake here, between Scottsboro and Gunnersville, just make sure they're off the water and inside somewhere safe. Again, that latest scan, it fell back down again. So, again, these are cyclic thunderstorms. What they'll do is they'll pulse up for a few minutes, look really strong, tighten up, and then after a few minutes, it'll weaken down, and then sometimes what can happen, it'll go back and forth. So that's why the warning remains in effect here, and that's why they're holding on to this tornado warning, because it could easily cycle back up again and potentially produce a tornado. Now, I am watching this over here. It looks like this is trying to get something going over here towards Rainsville and Powell here on Sand Mountain. Let me check and see if that verifies with the reflectivity. Yeah, there is a little bit of weak spin right in there, but it doesn't look, at the moment, doesn't look anything too big. And plus, it's about to get choked off by this thunderstorm. So whatever happens here would probably be pretty brief, because this one to the south should choke this thing off with time. So right now, just a general thunderstorm here, and same with this down in here, moving across the southern half of Sand Mountain and Jackson and DeKalb. But so this will probably impact the Fort Payne area and up towards Rainsville and Henniger and Ider here over the next 30 minutes or so. But so right now, nothing severe with these, but you can never really rule out the chance that they can briefly spin up into something or produce some gusty winds, maybe a little bit of peat, a marble-sized hail, something of that nature. And the good news is they have canceled that tornado warning. So the good news is, for those of you in Scottsboro, for those of you in Woodville and Grant and Paint Rock, the tornado threat has ended for you as of this very minute. So that's as of 3:34. The Weather Service in Huntsville has just canceled the tornado warning for you. So you are good. You can come out of your safe place. And I'm reading actually the explanation here off screen. It says the storm has weakened below severe levels and no longer poses an imminent threat. So the tornado warning has been canceled. So that's the good news. So earlier we had again, as I said, tornado warning's been canceled for southeastern Madison, southwestern Jackson, and northern Marshall counties. That's been canceled early. So some great news there. Now they have left the significant weather advisory in effect, and what these little blue boxes are, these are what we call special weather statements. I like to call them strong storm advisories because that's really what these are. It's just telling you that there's a possibility of maybe some 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts, perhaps some small hail, frequent lightning, that kind of deal. So these are a tier below, these blue boxes here, these are a tier below the warnings. So again, the red polygon would be, like you saw earlier, that was the tornado warning, and orange polygon would be a severe thunderstorm warning. These right in here are special weather statements. So at the moment, as I'm speaking to you here, we no longer have the tornado warning in effect. So that's some good news there. But I will double check and make sure I don't miss anything here before moving on from this point. So, and again, looks like that little thing I was watching out here towards Powell there about a minute ago, looks like that's also weakened pretty substantially, and that looks more like a gusty wind signature. So that's some good news there. And right back here where the tornado warning was, the good thing there, it's weakened. There's nothing left to it. I mean, you look out here south of Woodville, that's just a gusty wind signature. Nothing left of that one. And then I'll check on these other storms too down here towards Albertville because they will be moving up into DeKalb as well. Yeah, just some heavy storms, nothing big. And then across southern Tennessee, I know a lot of you are probably watching on the Tennessee side, so let me get you an update here on what's going on up here on the Tennessee end. Very heavy rain, probably some lightning and thunder here, but nothing too crazy. Just some torrential rain from basically Shelbyville down towards Lynchburg, Tullahoma, down through Winchester, Cowan area, Huntland. Pretty much covering almost all of Franklin County and all of Moore County. A lot of heavy rain, maybe some thunder, but nothing big there. Got some showers here, we'll just call, from Orem Mountain down towards Kimball, Jasper, up towards Mullins Cove, Signal Mountain, Soddy, Hickson area. Some light to moderate rain across Chattanooga, down across Lookout too. And then all this stuff up here towards Spring City and Decatur is probably just light rain and drizzle. And same with this stuff up here towards McMinnville and Woodbury. So that's pretty much about the extent of that situation. And let's just check and see real quick how this thunderstorm north of Huntsville is doing, just to make sure it doesn't do anything surprising. And so far, I've not seen anything there. And again, that's just a gusty wind signature too. So just to kind of show you what these colors mean here. Green color here on velocity means winds that are blowing towards the radar. Red means they're going away. Now earlier when we had the tornado warning in here, we had both the red and green meeting right up against one another. That indicates rotation. But if you've noticed, ever since, it's weakened to the point where it's all just one color. It's just the green, which is just a signature for gusty winds, the straight line winds that we're used to seeing. So the winds do get gusty, and sometimes they can get damaging in the brighter greens, especially once you get up into the bright blues and dark blues, that sort of deal. But right now we're hanging on to bright green, so they're definitely gusty winds, but these are below severe levels. So with that said, since we don't have any, at least at the moment, don't have any concerning severe thunderstorms or anything like that, we just have general heavy rain and thunderstorms with a lot of lightning, some gusty winds, torrential rain. So if you are traveling out this evening and all that, coming home from work, coming home from school, all that, football practice, wherever, just make sure that you're being careful. Take it slow. Take your time. Leave enough distance between the car and the other car in front of you and you. And if it gets too heavy for you, if the rain comes down too hard, if it's coming down too hard to a point where you can't see, if possible, just go ahead and pull off to the side of the road. Just wait it out, and then once it lightens up a little, then continue on. But just take your time. So again, with that said, here I'm going to go ahead and sign off here because we don't have any weather alerts in effect at the moment. Hope you guys have a great rest of the evening, and I'll have more updates as necessary.